Happy Milkshake Monday.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Make sure you also find us on Instagram and Hive, and check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com.
You have hives?
You have the hives.
I don't know if anybody's actually using Hive or not. It doesn't seem to have a lot of people on it. I have heard people have seen.
Can we bring MySpace back?
I heard that
Doesn't seem to have a lot of people.
I heard MySpace was coming back.
Yeah. I wonder if I don't think our existing profiles are still there, right?
At one point, you could go still find your same profile. Look it up.
MySpace.com. Oh, it still exists.
I know it still existed.
Like, it looks like it's concert stuff, music, and news.
Type your name in and see if it's on there. Do a search.
Connect with people. Enter name. Was I Drusilla Blakey back then? No.
I think you're still Drusilla Granados.
Oh my gosh. No, that's a big no. Search.
I remember looking a while back and it was still there.
No idea. No idea how this works, guys. This is new technology.
Okay.
That's old technology that's circling back. Anyways, we'll see. I'll check it out this week because, we've got
Look at
nothing
while
else
you're
to do.
doing your speaking and stuff too.
Okay, go look it up. It says look for an artist. So I feel like it's... Oh, maybe that's where I needed to go. Connect with people. Are you looking for yourself? There's Bobby Blake Lee.
Oh, no, I don't do Bobby Blake Lee.
Mm-mm.
I know who Bobby Blake Lee is.
Do you?
He's a pastor.
Oh, is he?
Yes.
Is that the right one, you think? Does it always take you to Pastor
It takes me
Blakely?
to him.
That's
Oh, well.
hilarious.
It doesn't matter. I don't know why we're getting obsessed with MySpace all of a sudden. We got a show to do.
I know. We have
Let's get to it, sister.
We got, and unwittingly, my friends, just because it's October, all of the movies today are kind of in the horror
They're
genre.
all horror except for one, which is the detective noir thriller.
Correct.
Kind of thing.
But
Who done it?
we didn't do this on purpose. It's just everything that's out there right now.
We did it on purpose.
Okay.
Next week is going to be more an eclectic because there'll be comedies,
yes,
animations,
there's some other things happening.
more horror, all kinds of stuff.
All right. Here we go.
So what do you want to talk about first, sister?
Let me pull up the slides, buddy. Let's see what's next. Oh, this one's first. Is that cool?
Yeah, okay.
Let me pull it up for the millions and millions of fans.
All right. So our first one is going to be from the film Creepy Crawly, which I believe is a Thai film from Wogo, USA. And it kind of falls within COVID. And
yes.
People being quarantined as we did in a hotel. And then people begin disappearing, no explanation. And there's wonder what's going on. And then they start talking about urban legends and different things happening. And then obviously there's a creature involved.
Yes.
And madness ensues.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty cool that they said it during COVID because you don't suspect that necessarily the creepy crawly is going to be there because everybody's just hiding out from COVID. So when this other thing presents itself, it really takes people by surprise. That's the time to strike if you're a creepy crawly.
Well, this is the second one because during that last Gangnam Zombie movie, it was during COVID as well to start with.
And the zombies, and you don't expect
out.
Zombies to just suddenly, well, some people did say that COVID was zombies, right?
I think within COVID, everybody expected everything to happen.
But remember, they said like recently, if you got the COVID shots when that thing went off on October 4th, we were all supposed to turn into zombies.
Yeah. So,
are we actually zombies and we don't know?
Oh no!
Oh,
Life didn't get better. It didn't get worse. It's like
we're all zombies.
I'm whatever they're doing to control me. They're doing a shit job because I've been doing the exact same thing I was doing yesterday.
But see, if the entire population's zombies, we don't know we're zombies.
But my life has not changed, so I don't care if they tracked me.
All right. Anyways.
And look, I do some weird shit. So if they're not, if they haven't come after me now.
Here's my problem with creepy crawly, which is not a problem, is there's tons of like centipedes or millipedes, like real,
I think they're giant
gross.
How did you say they go? She kept doing that through the whole movie.
Oh my gosh, but they're like real, like gigantic things. I didn't know they existed.
I don't know how many of them are real and how many are just CGI.
I don't know. They looked real.
Those are the cool part of the movies.
Yes.
The movie itself is okay. My problem, the movie would have been way better had they done more practical effects.
Agreed.
They used a lot of CGI, and it wasn't horrible CGI, but it wasn't great either. It felt very video game-esque, you know, like where your problem with the Meg, I had the problem with this one.
Oh, there are parts that do look
I
a
think
little bit
the reason the
fake.
Meg is more noticeable to you because they had created an entire underwater world and
Yeah, that
everything
just
else. For
didn't
this
look
one,
good.
it's just a person and the tentacle or whatever, but you can tell the tentacle is like a CGI. Again, it's not bad effects. It's just
We want
the
effects.
very noticeable difference between real life and fake or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, I did think it took a long time for anything to happen because they're trying to build up so much stuff, but I felt like they're building up a lot of nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
If that makes sense. It wasn't boring. It was just like, okay, what are we setting up? What are we?
Yeah,
and then
like,
all the
I
setup
just
really
get-
didn't go anywhere.
Well, and because then suddenly we got people that have creepy crawlies on them and in them, and you're like, okay, so is that what the virus is doing? Is it turning people into creepy crawlies?
Like, I think the thing on the poster here is way cooler than what you get in the movie.
Yeah, because that shows up. I don't know. Is this a spoiler alert? That shows
it's not really. If it's on the
shows
box,
up in the movie.
All I know, if I see that on the box, it better show up in the movie. And a lot of times it does not.
But yeah, that does look better. The picture looks better than what they did.
But it looks the same, and I think the reason the picture looks better is because it's not next to a person.
Yeah.
And so it's got a better composition of the imagery. That looks more realistic, even though it looks like a pile of dirt with a bunch of tentacles. It looks more realistic than when you stick it next to the people.
It looks like it's grew out of an anthill thing, you know, like one of those. It's growing.
I think it looks like roots, not LeVar Burton
and
Kunta Kinte, but like roots of the tree.
LeVar Burton.
Anyway, my problem with this movie more than anything is I didn't hate it. I love creature features. I just prefer a man in suit.
Agreed.
You know, real life practical effects. But I'm okay with a digital effect if it blends and meshes well. In this one, it was just on that cusp where you could tell it was the computer instead of being
and I appreciate all
smoother.
Asian film because I like that they just go there. You know, when we see any kind of a creature thing, like random like eyeball creature thing coming out of your random arms thing, like they just go for it, and I love that. Because when it was in the people part, it looked good, but then when you have this,
well, that's
like
the thing
a little
is
too disconnected.
They use the things that creeped you out, which the real creepy crawlies was the big centipedes, and that gave it a real life element blended with the COVID quarantine. That what if this building was infested with these centipedes that
like,
that is something that actually exists? You know, the giant centipede actually exists. They're huge, and being swamped with those things makes it kind of terrifying because you know this could happen.
Yeah.
Then it gets to the shift of when things are getting bigger and a little more outrageous, and you want that to happen. But then when it's a CGI level thing where the CGI doesn't perfectly mesh, then it takes you out of what was creeping you out of the realism. Then you realize, oh, okay.
I mean, I think parts of it were good with the facts when they had real people with parts on them, and then parts of it were like, okay.
I think it's one of those movies.
And then at the end,
it just kind of ended.
It kind of ended, but then we assume it doesn't really end because it's
because they leave that thing of like, oh, it's still out there. Let's set up a sequel. And I think the other problem is it's a movie that had everything it needed to be a great creature feature horror flick, and it just fell short. And I don't know if it was because of a budget thing. I don't know if it was just easier and they didn't want to do practical effects because a lot of the Asian cinema seems to be going a lot of CGI effects.
And I don't like because that's what I liked so much about them was the practical stuff.
Well, they were the first ones that dived full on into like full on CGI stuff, and a lot of it they do, ironically, is not great. And it's not bad, but in comparison to what we get now, when you get these bigger budgets, it looks fake. It seems to work better in like the crazy martial arts flicks and stuff because you buy into the people flipping and flying and shooting lightning and stuff. When you bring in a creature but you merge it with a person, it doesn't always work. So the movie's good and it's entertaining for the genre it is, but that's for me where it falls. So it's very slow paced, and the CGI of the creatures kept taking me out of what they had in there in front of them to build on.
And then for a little while, you don't really understand like what's happening with that one guy, I guess, who's kind of like the mob boss of the building or something. And
there was too many things
trying to take the girl, and then these other people are trying to save the girl, and then you have the deaf father with the two kids. It's a lot of convoluted stories happening, and I'm just like, just give me the creepy crawlies. But
well, that is an issue with a lot of Asian cinema. It gets too convoluted and lost on itself sometimes, and I'm not talking about understanding dialogue. They try to add too many directions and too many twists and turns and too many depths to characters that don't matter. and then you get all lost. And it's not just horror flicks. They do, especially in the period martial arts epics.
Mm-hmm.
You get so much going on. You're like, it's like watching Game of Thrones. You're like, who are all these people?
Yeah.
I just thought I was following this one samurai. Now there's 14, and they all look the same. And I'm not talking about the Asian same, like they're the same armor, the same look, the same vibe, the same powers, and you get lost on who's who. And then you just kind of lose interest because you can't keep up with stuff.
It's a lot happening. At one point, I was just like, I don't know, give me the monsters.
If you like Asian films, you like monster films, give it a try. It's not a bad movie. It's worth checking out. It's a fun little flick. Like I said, I just saw a better movie there that we just didn't get.
Yeah.
So Creepy Crawler is available now on Blu-ray and DVD from Wellgo USA. And big props to Wellgo because they kind of cornered the Asian market.
Yeah.
Mostly
Well.
martial arts flicks, but
it.
they do horror, they do drama, they do comedies, and they're not just Asian. They do different international films now, and I really love that they're branching out into so many different things.
Yeah. All right, next.
What you got? You want to
Are you
tell us
okay
about?
here?
Why don't you tell us about yours?
Okay, let me go there. All right, this was the Hulu movie of the week, and it happens to be kind of another kind of creepy movie. As you can see from there, there's a little critter holding this girl captive. So the movie is called Appendage.
Are those baby hands?
It's little creepy baby hands.
Okay. I didn't see this one, so.
So the basic point is that some people, if you have the birthmark where you could have been a twin, like a whatchamacallit twin, where you absorbed your twin in the womb because you fought to survive. Basically, some people have like a birthmark somewhere on their body, and
that's
supposedly that you ate your twin, basically. So now what's happened is we're in a world where those people that have some sort of a birthmark thing, a creature starts to grow, and it's basically your evil twin coming back to get you.
Coming back out.
Yes. And it presents itself during times of trouble or stress, and it is your appendage. So as you see in the poster, this girl's appendage has come, and it wants to take over her entire life. So it's obviously a little bit crazy, a little bit supernatural. But she finds a support group for people that are like, oh my gosh, what is happening? She's like, I thought I was crazy. And they're like, no, it's your appendage. You need to keep it sedated so that it doesn't sedated, so that it doesn't take over your life.
Like adding a little Ramones to the show. It's not copyrighted. We do not own the rights to that song.
Yes. But then you find out that some of these things are actually, instead of them being sedated, they've sedated the real people, and the appendages are walking out. So now you don't know who's who. Are they the real person, or are they their appendage?
Oh,
it gets
so they're
crazy.
Kind of like taking over them.
Yeah, they're crazy taking over.
Do they still
society.
look like the same person?
Yes.
Okay.
They look and
so it's not like they're coming
act.
out of them and becoming a different person.
Now it's creepy. Now here's what I like. I like that they had cool little, I don't know if they're little puppet creature things, because obviously it comes out like this big and it starts to grow because it feeds on you or whatever. But I thought these little creeper things were so cool. They were creepy. They were kind of like baby shrunken ETs, like all like
they're like a ghoulies.
Yes, kind of.
If things come out of the toilet.
Like with just big eyes, like big gray eyes, and
speaking of which, where's my ghoulie at?
So I thought it was kind of cool. Yes, I think so. I like little creature movie. Obviously, we're in a creature theme today, but I thought it was kind of cool, man. And the idea that would your evil twin be better at your life than you? That's kind of the question for this particular girl. Like, she's failing at her job, her relationship's not going great.
What's always funny is every one of these movies, the person that's like the protagonist or whatever it is, their life always sucks. It never comes out as like, oh wait, your wife is way better than mine, I'm going back in. It's always like, you suck, you can't find a date, you can't get a job, you can't do all this stuff, your life is problem. And these people are like, but I want my life back. I'm like, you didn't want it at the beginning of this movie.
So then, I'm not spoiling it, but there's another thing that she's talking, that one of them, we're not going to tell you who is talking to, that she's like, my life's better now that I've taken over. You know, the evil one's taken over of somebody else. And it's all over the place. I really dug it. I like that whole idea of, could you have a secret evil twin? Supposedly in the world, we all have a twin that looks just like us somewhere on the planet.
I know. I was told I look like Turtle from Entourage.
Turtle.
I don't think I do, but.
So I was going with the other turtle. Sorry.
Dana Carvey from that movie? He looks like an actual turtle. You're saying I look like an actual turtle?
No. Anyways, I liked it. I really enjoyed it, and it's on Hulu, so you can watch it anytime you want. I thought it was really, really cool and different and creative, and I hope people watch it.
Awesome.
That's all. And it's got little creatures.
I would have watched this movie, but she didn't give me the option. She just started watching it without me.
Oh my god.
She does that, and then I do it. She goes, "But I was gonna watch that," so I just sat silently and cried inside.
Did you?
I did.
Did you? You just cried inside. Are you sure it wasn't your evil twin?
All right, what's next, sister?
Oh, they said it's all. Oh, yeah. Sorry. It's also a look at mental illness and depression and anxiety. I'm sorry. That's the most important thing because that's what she's personally going through.
I don't think the most important thing is that. I think the most important thing is those little hands on her.
I think so too. I thought you would like it because you like little baby hand creatures.
I do like baby hands.
But no, it is. She's dealing with a time where she actually, throughout her youth and adulthood, has suffered with depression.
The two youths?
Yeah. Where something happened when she was a teenager, and since then her mom just completely disconnected from her. So she has a very disconnected, remote relationship with her mother. And at one point, her mother's like, she's like, I just don't know how to deal with you. And she's like, dude, I'm trying to tell you I need help. You know, so it's one of those, and dealing with that level of anxiety. So it is a look at like what happens if you could remove the depression, anxiety of your. If you could remove that, who would you be? I mean, I think it's a really interesting look, but also on the flip side, like, would your evil twin live a better life than you? I don't know. So I thought it was really cool. It's weird, but I liked it. Go watch it. I love little creepy crawly creatures, obviously.
Yeah.
That's our theme today. Creepy crawlies. Sir?
All right, what's next?
Let's go see what we got. Where do you want to go? You want to tell me about that one?
Sure, why not?
Oh, okay, because I know you've been looking forward to this one.
I'm always looking forward to this. So the next one is the one I watched by myself, which is the latest entry into the VHS series. Was VHS85. It's a Shudder original. Did not start out that way. The series has been going since 2012, where I think the website Bloody Disgusting and a producer teamed up. They made this found footage horror flick just called VHS, and basically it would bring them these like normal different directors doing a different story, but they're always connected by like a VHS tape.
Yeah.
In some way. I think one movie was a tape that was passed around. One was like a news broadcast.
One of those.
Yeah, this one was like some kind of bizarre, ominous broadcast. It talks about like forgetting nightmares of the 80s and stuff like that. And so they're all different. So we've had VHS, we had VHS 2000, VHS 2, then we had VHS Viral, and then we had VHS 94 and 99. Then there was a spin-off movie called Siren.
You're into all of these. That's
Siren, I don't remember if I've ever seen all the way through it, but it was one of the mini shorts that spun into a full movie.
Yeah. Just
like Terrifier is actually spun out of All Hallows Eve, which is an anthology film.
I love it.
Now we have Terrifier 1 and 2 and 3 on the way. So anyway, we have VHS 85, so it's going back to 1985. And this time you're getting the same setups, different stuff. I love this franchise. It's kind of become kind of like how Paranormal Activity and Saw was every October.
Yes.
You know, and I think Shudder has kind of jumped in there, and the last few have come out. And like 94 and 99 both came out in 21 and 22. And here we are 23, we got 85.
Nice.
So the last one prior to that was 2014, I believe. And then in 2021, it became an every October thing. So I'm thinking that's the new pattern, which I love.
We need something like that.
Yeah, and it's on Shudder. So if you have Shudder, which is just an add-on streaming service to like Amazon, I believe, Prime, it's next to nothing per month. It has tons of horror flicks on it. So it's a great place to be able to check out stuff like this. So this one, once again, it's entertaining. I loved it. It might be my least favorite of the bunch, but not because it's bad. I think the tone kind of shifted where the last one had a lot more humor in it, a lot more gore. This one had less gore in it, but it does take on a few different things. So like one of the people in it, I think I mentioned to you in by ourselves, is Scott Derrickson, who directed Strange.
Yeah.
Also Sinister and Into the Black Phone.
Yes.
There's a story in here where they mention a character's name, which actually that character's from the Black Phone, so it's supposedly his little segment's in the same universe.
We're in the same universe.
Yeah, you don't see anything about the Black Phone.
It's
just all connected. Then they do other stuff like the opening sequence, and there's less people shot. I'm not going to spoil the story. That circles back into a later sequence, and it's connected. And so usually they're all individual, and then there's a big encompassing story. So, and I don't want to give away any of the stories because that kind of defeats it. It's better going in this and not knowing which segment's going to be.
Yeah.
There was one segment that I was pretty bored with until the climax of it, and the climax saved the rest of it.
I got you.
Because it's like this lady's. The basic premise of that story is this lady's on stage doing like a one-woman show, talking about God, and she's like, "Who believes in God?" And who is your God? And then people are like, one person raises their hand, and then people are being very shy. And then she's talking about how technology has become everybody's God. You've killed God because of technology. And she goes in like this vengeful thing, but there's like a demon in there now. So people are seeing this play out on stage. With it. But I really dig it. I love the way they bring all of it together, how it connects to these different things. But so there's one that's only in Spanish that's actually following a live news broadcast that an earthquake did. And then it's up doing Aztec Mayan things at the bottom, but it's based on an actual earthquake that happened. And they used that story. The lady that directed it used the actual historical time in that time period of a real earthquake that happened. It took out whole buildings and added this other stuff to it. There's like the gods with the big masks and the multiple arms.
Nice.
So it's really good. Like I said, it's hard to really explain because I have to go through every single story, and then that kind of loses the mystery of it all. So you don't have to see any other previous VHS movie. That's what's best about this.
Because they're all how many like movie or shorts are there?
Usually there's 4 or 5, maybe. Let me see if I wrote on here.
I think that's why I like these anthology type things, because you get a variety of stories.
Okay. And there's always, like I said, there's one main story that kind of circles back periodically in between. Like this one, it keeps doing stuff where like the videotape is tracking. It's showing like some old. They interjected old commercials. Like there's one, it's about driving drunk and it's 2 beer mugs smashing into each other, and so you see some 80s nostalgia that are real commercials and real stuff that's with the stuff that, and they may have
they recorded over it or something.
Yeah, they may have recreated them, and so it's interesting. And they try to, most of them do really good job with. One of my biggest beefs with the found footage aspect is, why are you still filming?
Yeah,
a lot of them do a really good job of explaining away why they're filming, or why they still see something. Whether it's showing the foot, like it may jump to somebody that's been arrested, and now it's showing the footage from the police interrogation camera. Instead of saying, "Oh, explain away why they're holding video camera thing," like in the earthquake thing, like how would you film that? It was during a cruise broadcast, and the guy that's running away with the cops was the cameraman. Because I trained my entire life for this. I'm not leaving my camera.
No.
So he's running around with the camera.
I mean, and that's the crazy thing. Those reporters like when something like they run in it, everybody else is running away.
Well, he was part of the earthquake.
He was just there.
Oh,
but he's like, I'm keeping my camera running.
He's like, yeah, this is what I do. I'm turning my camera off, and then there's another one where they're filming it at a party at the house.
Of course.
And so sometimes you don't see everything. That's what I like too. Is like a shootout happens in one, the camera falls because the person's holding it gets shot. So the camera stays. So you're just seeing feet running by, and you're just hearing stuff. And so they don't try to make it where somebody picks it up and goes, "Oh, let's get it on the." Sometimes you just have to kind of mentally imagine what's happening by what you're hearing in the screams, and then somebody will find it and be like,
"Is this on?"
So anyway, VHS85 is streaming on Shudder as we speak. It'll probably get a Blu-ray DVD release down later in this year, like all the rest of them have. But again, you do not have to see any of the directors on here. Are David Bruckner, who he directed a segment in the original VHS, as well as the new Hellraiser movie.
Oh. Nice.
Scott Derrickson, as I mentioned, who Doctor Strange, Black Hole Sinister. Natasha Kermani, who did movie Shattered and Lucky. Mike P. Nelson, who did Summer School and the new version of Wrong Turn. And
there's another Wrong Turn?
Yeah, we watched it.
I did? Oh, yeah. Sorry.
And then Gigi Saul Guerrero, who did the Earthquake segment. But she did ABCs of Death 2.5, which is another one like this. She also did a movie called Satanic Hispanics that came out recently. That's been a big hit. Anyway, so now on Shudder.
I really like anthology type things because it brings you new things. Like of course I have to mention, but also in that one I think it's the weird contortionist conjoined twin things. Like that was a creepy story. I like.
Well, I always love.
So cool. You get different stories.
I love that. Like the Siren, I believe I might be wrong now, so anybody correct me if I'm wrong. Siren, I think, is the one that's spun into an actual film. But then other ones, like All Hallows Eve, turned into Terrifier, which has been a massive global event. You think of like Grindhouse, we had the fake trailers.
Yeah.
We now have 3 movies out of that. Machete, which was a trailer for 2 movies.
My dad's like, have you ever seen something called Machete? It was on TV the other day.
Somebody told you that not to watch that.
You watched it. It was on TV. So I guess
regular TV.
Yeah. So it was edited. Yeah.
That is
like, he goes, that man is ugly. He goes, but I think.
You didn't tell me it was in prison. Everything else. But Machete spawned 2 movies. They're still talking about Machete in space at some point. From a trailer. A Shotgun was one of the trailers. The movie.
Which is a good movie.
And of course now Thanksgiving that's coming out is from one of the trailers.
I'm
from
excited
that same thing.
for that.
So we're directed by the people that did the trailers. It's very exciting.
It's cool. Anyways, all right, so fun.
Moving on. What's next?
All right, let's see. Let's pick one from our list here. We got Phase 3.
Oh, here, pick one.
You want that one? You want that one? You want that one?
Let's do that one down there.
This one?
No, this one. We'll take a break from the horror.
Okay.
There's no review for that one.
Kind of a thriller-ish movie. This is the new Netflix movie of the week, Reptile.
I don't know if that was this week or last week.
Oh, it might have been last week. I don't know. Everybody's been talking about like I've been seeing so much stuff on social media about it. It was good.
It was actually. It's a very slow pace.
Slow.
But it's by design. You're dealing with a murder mystery. You're dealing with how this guy goes about solving the case. It's not a lot of like high action. It's a little quirky and weird at times.
A little bit.
But I kind of dug it.
Yeah. So basically, what's his name? Don't tell me.
Which one? Don't look him up.
I'm gonna look. I don't know.
I can just tell you if you're gonna look.
Benicio del Toro is the detective. Alicia Silverstone is his wife.
Alicia.
Sorry.
Alicia.
Oh, my bad. And then JT is a real estate agent who stumbles. What?
He's not a real estate agent. He's a real estate investor.
Sorry, investor, mogul, and agent. He's selling homes as well.
He is, but a real estate agent and investor are 2 different things.
Whatever. He's from a large real estate family.
He's like
own their own thing.
He's like Mike, who I used to work with. He's that.
Fine. He's a real estate person, and he goes looking for his girlfriend and finds her in one of their houses, and she's dead.
Was that not his wife?
No, it wasn't. It was his girlfriend because she was still married, technically, to the other dude.
I missed some of it because it's hard to hear some of it for me.
Benicio del Toro is investigating the murder of this lady that he found in the house. Of course, he's a suspect. Her ex is a suspect. And they find out that although she'd been selling all these properties, she wasn't technically making commission. So where was all the money going? Follow the money. And we find out there's this whole conspiracy thing happening. You don't know who all's involved. You can't trust it.
It's one of those that's laid out that's straightforward, but then it also forces back and lets you see different things. It does get a little confusing at times because you don't know what is taking place.
Yeah.
There's one element where somebody shows up at somebody else's house and they're coming to talk and they're wanting to come in. It seems like it's right now, and you don't know until later in the movie when they talk about it. Like, oh, that was a long time ago. So it's convoluted on that sense, but if you pay attention, it does all circle back and make sense.
It all fills in the blank. I think for me, of course, my favorite person is going to be Alicia Silverstone. It was interesting though because she's the detective wife, but she helps him so much solve these cases and it's kind of creepy, but I understood it. You know, there's this one section where he's like, look at her hands. And so he kind of like ties her hands and she's like, okay, well, if you would have done this and if I would have scraped this and if you would have done this, like my hands would have been this way, you know? And so she pretends like she was tied up for him so well, what if you did this? And it's interesting because you do weird things like that to me. You're like, hey, I want to try this new move on you. And you're like, here, let me flip you around. So in a way, I get it because he had to physically process the information mentally. You know, and there's this part where it's like, is that a bite mark? So then they're biting each other to see would it leave a mark. I mean, it's weird, but it's interesting how she really supports him. She really loves him because later on in the movie, that comes back. Like, is she going to stick with him because he finds some stuff out that could potentially affect her? And so you just don't know who's really on your side. So,
do we ever know who's on our side?
I'm by your side. Anyways,
do we ever know?
And
who's on our side?
I like me seeing some Justin Timberlake. I don't see enough of him, and I just like him because this one, you don't really know if he's innocent, if he's sleazy.
I've always thought he was better in some of the dramas and stuff.
Yeah,
he's actually
really
a decent
good.
actor.
So
he's too busy now with his NSYNC reunion.
Yeah, I think so.
You know why they're back together?
Why?
Because of the Trolls movie.
Oh yeah, they were in the
all
last
of them
one.
were in the Trolls movie. It's the boy band that he was
when
part
he found
of.
his brothers.
And and so they just have been, now that it's been publicly announced that NSYNC is back together, and I think they're gonna probably do a tour and stuff.
Oh wow!
They're announced that their first new song in however many years is part of the Trolls soundtrack.
Yeah. So. Oh, sorry. He's a real estate mogul. Is that better?
Okay. Yeah, that's what it's somebody who buys up a lot of real estate. They flip it, but they buy the real estate. They're not an agent running around selling, but those people usually sell them themselves. Okay. Because then they make all the profit and don't have to pay the real estate agents their commissions.
Says there's similarities to an unsolved murder in the Canadian real estate agency. So, who knows?
It's one of those that, like I said, it's a lot of. There's some of the stuff you can figure out. It felt like it was a mystery, not trying to be a mystery. Mm-hmm. It's really just trying to be like, let's just solve this case, and you don't trust anybody. But then at one point, they even make some people seem like they might be involved that aren't involved. Yeah, which I like. But in the end, it's a good movie. It's just slow. It's and even with the resolution at the end, there is a definitive resolution. So it's not like a leave it up to your own thoughts. But it's an interesting direction.
People are saying slow burn. Remember the movie Little Things? Like
it is. It's very much
kind of like that. Denzel, very slow.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Little Things as well.
They're like it's dark and gritty. It's very character driven, and I like that Benicio del Toro had a hand in writing some of it. So
the screenplay.
You know, he worked with the guys, and
he's not playing a weirdo this time. He's playing like a normal detective. Like he plays a lot of weird characters, but I love him.
Yeah. But I think that's what threw me for a second because it's like, what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? And he ends up just being a normal guy,
normal cop.
And I like when he has to keep pulling out his little reading glasses to check everything.
You know who he reminded me, minus being psychotic, is he reminded me of Detective Hoffman from Saw.
Yeah.
He reminded him of that just visual and his mannerisms and stuff. Yeah. But he's not a crazy person in this movie. He's a real cop.
Yeah. Like those can do nothing wrong. Okay. They really liked it. Okay. Benicio del Toro can do nothing wrong.
All right.
They loved it. Anyway.
You didn't see him in Star Wars.
Anyways, I liked it. I thought it was really good.
It was a wasted character, but I still enjoyed it. Yeah.
Might check one.
Reptile's great. Good movie if you like those kind of things. It's on Netflix.
Nice, good thriller.
What's next, sister?
All right.
You got one more?
Yep. So you pick one.
Let's pick the red one first. Yeah.
All right. Sometimes.
All right. So the next is the latest chapter of Pet Sematary, Pet Sematary Bloodlines, which this time is actually a prequel to the 2019 version, which is technically a remake, but it's actually not, because if it's just making the novel, it's not remaking the original movie.
It could be a prequel to the first. I mean,
well, no, it's said it's part of the prequel to the 2019 one, because one of the producers has said that they wanted to try to build out a universe.
Well, and you caught it in the opening scene. There's a flashback actually to the first movie. It's footage in that newer movie.
That's where that gray area for me comes in when you say it's a remake of the old movie. When it's based on a novel, then it's clearly not a remake of the movie. It's just another version of the same novel.
The book.
Yeah,
I think it's more to the book. Maybe.
I don't know. I want to say back then I read some other ones were close, but I personally never read one of the Stephen King books. I am a fan of what he does. I'm a fan of a lot of the movies he's made, but
you're not a big novel reader.
You're not that kind. I read either biographies or I'm into my comic stuff.
Yeah. So, and you read like these things, like
the graphic novels,
compendiums of things.
I do, but I also like if I read a book. It's usually like about a person.
Yeah, that's true. Like you prefer
Jackie Chan book and Marilyn Manson book and the Ronda Rousey book.
I read like just novels.
Yeah, I like reading about people. Like Matthias Hughes, I've got his book that I've been reading. So it's like anyway. Although I did read Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
That was good, right?
Book. And I've read some Star Wars books here and there. Anyway, so this basically one is taking us back to the late 60s. We're following Jack Crandall, who has been previously played by Fred Gwynn and John Lithgow, who played him in the 2019 which is the one that quotes the saying,
"Sometimes dead is better,"
which is the famous line from the franchise. In the original films, both of them, he talks about Timmy, when he's telling the couple about that cemetery. and about the trials of Timmy, burying Timmy. This story is that story. So it's essentially an unnecessary prequel, kind of like Rogue One was an unnecessary story about something we didn't ever need to see, but it was cool to see it.
Yeah.
This one isn't the same idea, but it's just moderately okay.
I think it's because the other perhaps is more impactful because it's a young child that they're trying to save. You know,
I
and when you have
agree with
creepy
you.
children, it's a little creepier.
I think to me though, that I think is the element that makes those films work.
Yeah.
This one felt
This
like they were
one's
really
not.
trying to
This
use
one's,
more of a horror element to it.
Yeah, so somebody obviously brings somebody back. It's the story of these, but they're an adult, and it sets off a string of unforeseen bringing backs.
I think there's something to kind of couple situations here. There's that of the age of the victim stuff makes it
not as creepy
because it's sad that a kid is dead, but then when kids are creepy, it's always successful, even if the movie sucks. But
can't save it.
In this case, it's not only that, is when you already know, it's really hard to do a prequel. And in this case, they tried to get more depth to the history.
It's hard for us to be surprised of what's going to happen.
No, even when you're watching a remake of sorts, you already know what's going to happen. But to see how are we getting there this time. In this case, knowing okay, well, we kind of know part of the story because he told us in all those other movies. But in this case, it's like, is it going to have any impact? Because we already know what's going to happen. So they tried to build more backstory to what the existence of the pet cemetery. And to me, that is always when you go downhill. Because when you start giving too much knowledge of the past, then sometimes it takes away the mystique of what you're dealing with. It's like you don't want to know too much about Michael Myers.
Correct.
We know he's a crazy kid that he killed his sister. We don't need to know more than that. And when you get too, like, that's one of the things a lot of people hate about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. It started going into his head and what he's. Yeah, I like the movie, but I understand that issue is I work on too much. You know, it's just an opinion. Sometimes less is better. I actually wrote this in my review. I have to show you what that. And that sometimes many times in this movie.
It comes
I think he used like three times.
We just needed it
2 narrations, and they tried to say it in the movie. But I said, where Judge Green sometimes death is better, iconic, use way too much here. Same can be said with sometimes less is more.
Sometimes less is more.
And that's in reference to telling us too much. We don't always do that.
Okay, I agree. On the plus side, I like the time period where we're in the 60s. We're dealing with the Vietnam, right? At this point, I guess some people coming back, some people didn't come back, and then the insinuation that Judd himself, that his daddy paid somebody to get him out of it. So, we have that level of whatever happening, like all this strife within this little small town of these families losing people. This kid came back, this one didn't, this one came back, he's not okay, and you didn't even go. But then also pointing at his friend who's Native American, like, well, they sent you, we don't even, so we're still dealing with that level of racism and stuff. I do like that we've moved in some other Stephen King elements, like there's like a lot of corn stalks and giant fields and stuff. Like we have to move that in. You gotta move that in.
Where you don't know if, hey, are the children out there?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, are they going to come here? I'd like to get a little bit more into the mythos of why we have the little mask, so why you see the kids in the first.
I hate all that. I don't want to know any of that. I love that it's just like, what's wrong with you people? I don't know what's wrong with them.
We find out why they have the masks, and it's related to the whole league thing. And I think in a way we find out why Judd in the Moo movie is like he's old jacked up man. Like he's not really okay anymore because of all the trauma of this. Is what we can just say. I don't want to give anything away. So, but maybe it is creepier not knowing. You don't want to know.
When you see little kids and they're walking, wearing these weird animal masks, you're in a box with animals in it, and they're walking like a cult, and then the next thing you just see them playing kickball. There's something creepier about that than being like, hey, they're wearing a mask because of this. They're wearing their pet squirrel, and now they've had the funeral and they're going to go play. There's two different things there. Yeah. It's like the kid when he's at the theater at Saul. Nothing happened, but it was creepy. That kid was just by himself. Mommy. You're like, No, not
Not
today.
today.
Whereas if the kid came up and says, "I cannot find my mom, can you help me?" It's not as scary, you know. So it's a double-edged sword, and the problem is Pet Sematary has had so many sequels and remakes, and
Yeah,
most of them,
somebody is like, stop already.
most of them are not good. The filmmakers are really trying to build out a franchise for Pet Sematary, and there's some options there, but it's going to be on how clever you can do with the same thing because there's not a lot of things to do with that.
Yeah.
What I will say is that the most performance is good. Most importantly, I think David Duchovny was awesome. He plays this tortured character who's struggling. How do I remember? He's struggling to find normalcy in the choices and sanity that he's put himself in.
He knows what's happening.
Yeah, because he's the cause of it, and he's trying to keep everybody away from it. He's trying to have things, but at the same time, he's like, I'm not willing to give up just because I want this, you know. And so he's kind of crazed. He's angry. He's hopeful. But he knows he did something wrong all at the same time.
I think too. The other thing I did like in this one was a lot of effects because there was a lot of good kind of blood and guts and trails and stuff that I think they did really well.
Yeah, and I
So
think,
I'll give them that.
and I think that's what kind of becomes an issue here because Pet Sematary is not a gory flick typically. There's a lot of mystery to it. There are murders and stuff that would be wrong. I think they tried to make this one more of a full-on horror flick with more stuff happening than just the climax and the random things that happen in the other movies.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why the tone was different. I didn't hate it by any means.
It's not
And I think it's better than a lot of the other sequels that have been made. It's just, it felt unnecessary and never really did anything to make me feel, okay, I know why this movie exists.
Yeah, it's
You know
like
what I mean?
it's unnecessary. It really is. I mean,
I do think it's better than one of most of the other ones they've made since
yeah.
then. So
Very first movie is good. This last one, adaptation they did was good. This was unnecessary. It really is unnecessary.
it's an unnecessary movie.
Because
So
I agree. I mean, now we know the story of Timmy, but did we need to know? Because it's better to torture the main character and just know and see in his eyes all of
and
the
like
crap
I
that
mentioned
happens
Rogue One
in his life.
earlier, Rogue One is a rare exception of it. They took a single line in the crawl and made a movie out of it. It was good. But there's depth to it. There's growth. There's telling us what they went through to get to what we see in this other movie.
And we kind of see that for our main character.
We do, but I think it gets lost in itself trying to be a more action-packed horror film instead of, just a straight-up simple one. But anyway, if you're interested in seeing Pet Sematary Bloodlines, unless you're one of the hardcore Stephen King fans that hate all of the movie adaptations and hate the spin-offs, then don't watch it. But if you want to watch it, it's streaming now on Paramount Plus.
There you go.
What else we got, sister?
I think we got one more, sir.
One more, please.
This one.
Oh, yes.
This was on
Prime.
It's called Totally Killer.
And it is totally awesome.
Yeah. So, how do we even describe that?
This is Scream meets Back to the Future.
There you go.
It's basically the story of this girl who lived with her mom, who was the only survivor of a slasher Michael Myers-like killer back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
In the 80s, called the Sweet 16 Killer. And after a series of events, wait for it, she goes back in time and finds herself with her teenage mom and her friends and trying to stop the murder of these people. Solve this mystery of these murders. Now, does it sound stupid? Yeah. Is it ridiculous? Yes.
But
if you buy into it, is it awesome?
Yes.
Yeah. It's very much in the vibe of movies that have been coming lately, like Freaky and Happy Death Day.
I love it because it's totally like your 80s slasher film. It is just there.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
You have to buy into it. I think they do a decent job of explaining how they can do the time machine. Again, you still have to buy into it.
Doesn't even matter.
But it works, and it does create the fish out of water. It is very much Back to the Future. When they can't say who they are and having to run around, hang out with your mom and your family and seeing things, and the terms. In this case, she knows the chain of events, so she's trying to help it. Mm-hmm. Things don't always go well, so then you're also in the middle of a whodunit. Who is behind the mask? Who's involved in the past, the future, and all this stuff. And I think it does a good job of tricking you into thinking it's one thing when it's something else, and creating these tropes of things, and also diving into every 80s thing you can think of, whether it's clothing, whether it's a ride at the circus, whether it's things people say, but also the flip side of her current
Going
thing
back.
of like, what was it she says about touching?
The guys like, oh, I want to touch, I want to touch. You know?
The guy was just like, oh,
And then as soon as she dropped him, he goes to the high school. The mascot is
the Indian.
a Native American, but they have the literally painted red, like the
Yeah.
Redskins. It's just like, and there's the racism, you know. So it's funny because when we do look back,
It's
like
very meta.
there's a lot of stuff that was not okay in the 80s that we just didn't know at that point. Well, who knows? So it's just funny because she's telling them about the bullying and all that and gender equality, and they're just like, "What are you talking about? Crazy!" So I just think it's really fun. That part's fun.
I think those movies, it doesn't have any heavy, but it does have blood. It fully dives into the slasher element. I like that it kind of the clue of the people, but nobody here, even likable people. There's nobody here I hated.
No.
Unlike some of the other movies we watched, like, oh my god, I can't wait for every person to die. Like Night of the Demons, you want everybody to die. I love Night
Why
of the
would
Demons.
you go to Dumb Angela's party and everybody
Well,
jerk?
New.
All the jerks.
Even when they're jerks, you're kind of like, okay, we know who she is later, and she's not a jerk. So we're showing the difference between the adult and child. And that works really well. It's one of those, and it has massive franchise because they can do a lot of different things with the time travel, or how they use the past and the future, and all the different things.
Yeah.
So
I also like the killer's mask, that it looks like a weirdo. I don't even know what this killer mask is.
It looks like Ted Danson.
I thought it was in the 80s. He got the weird earring, but it just looks like one of in every kind of dude.
Like headroom.
Yeah,
like
exactly. And it's like that's the killer's mask. And that is so weird. It's just bizarre.
Well, there's little elements too that play out that like her jacket plays into the story.
Yeah.
And the little clever twists. And I love there's an opening scene that's very reminiscent of Scream, where a character is repeatedly attacked. But it had that vibe of like Halloween, the more recent Halloween.
Yeah, ready to
Jamie
fight back.
Lee Curtis has been waiting to fight back. And so they have guns and stun guns and everything. So it's a good sequence. Not just another, haha, stab, you're dead. It's like a fight. You're like, oh, look at this is
so
this is how somebody would be if
this
they
is what you would really
dealt
do.
with this.
Yes,
with the trauma. Or
exactly. I just thought it was really fun. It's so fun. We can't even do everything. Just go watch it.
Definitely.
Somebody's like, it's totally rad. Like, it is totally rad.
It is. It's a great flick. It's fun. It's one that I was expecting that I was going to like, but I was worried it was going to work, and it works perfectly.
Yeah, it's just so fun. You got Mean Girls, you got Molly Ringwald, you got
Molly Ringwald's
not there, but mentions of her, and waterbeds, and
oh my god, I miss the waterbed.
Crazy parties.
I want waterbed again.
Oh my gosh, it's a lot of fun. It works.
It's nostalgia, horror, comedy, a little bit of everything, and I think it's gonna be one that we'll probably be revisiting over and over.
Like watch it every year. It's a good one.
So check out Totally Killer. It's streaming now in video. And then of all the stuff we reviewed today, this is the one I would probably say goes to watch before everything else.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Did you have any other Angela movies to talk about?
I can. I only watched the first two because they weren't able to send me the third one of the series. And
so we talked about. Did we talk about?
We never talked about it. It was supposed to be on this side. Kicked it off because we were going to go see the new Exorcist movie. Got away from us, so we didn't get to it. And so I'd originally booked it because of it.
And we have so many horror movies we talked about today. So that's okay.
So Shout Factory. Through their Scream Factory brand. I don't know if you're going to do anything with Scream Factory.
Scream Factory.
I think we just Scream. We need to Shout instead of whatever that is.
This is me being the Scream guy.
Anyway.
I need my mask.
They released new old horror films. So they released Night of the Demons on 4K, as well as Night of the Demons 2 and 3 on Blu-ray. They sent me the first two. Something happened with the printing or the pressing, so they didn't send me the third one. So I didn't get to sit and watch the third one, but I'm going to figure I didn't actually review it either. But we did watch the first one together. I think she lost interest, so I didn't watch the second one.
No, because all those people, nobody was redeemable, so it's like, meh.
But the second movie, is, in my opinion, is actually better than the first one.
I'm going to have to go watch it.
But you also have time jump big time, because the first one was made in 1988. The second was 1994.
Is it the same girl as
Yeah,
Angela?
same Angela's in all three movies. Because 1997 was the third one, and then they did a remake where Shannon Elizabeth played Angela, I believe,
And
in
this one is
2000.
2009.
Yeah.
I see.
So, which I totally forgot about talking about this. But anyway, the first one is kind of just it's cheese, typical. I mean, it's very 80s. Like the clothes, the cheese, the annoying teenagers.
Not
the effects were awesome. He's crazy. The acting was not good.
Maybe that's what it is.
But this movie has one of my favorite gags, which is the lipstick and the boob gag, which I love. And then in the Night of the Demons, they take that boob gag to a whole other level. That is awesome. All I'm gonna say is boob hands. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, did you even enjoy the first one at all?
It was actually okay, considering it's very 80s. I think they did a good job. I think for me, it was a little overboard on the weird 80s dance party and crazy dancing and stuff, but it was fine. I mean, the effects were fine. They did what they could. At least everybody was just people with cool makeup and aesthetic. I mean, they did a good job.
It's the kind of movie that there's not a single person you like in this movie, but
except for the one.
You want everyone in this movie to die, so it makes it more exciting when they finally die.
And I also like that your typical person that should die didn't necessarily die first.
Yeah.
Let's just go there. I'm not going to spoil it.
So basically,
if you want to go back to the movies from the 80s and 90s and not be spoiled, sorry.
The first one about a group of teenagers who go to this thing called the Whole House, which is like what they say they think this house is built on evil patch of land, and then ends up doing a seance and brings horror, demons, whatever.
I'm sorry.
So Angela ends up becoming the main demon. Whether she realized that was going to happen or not,
I think
it's implied that she thinks
it's implied
that she wants it to happen, but I don't know if she knows it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then the second movie, you have this character Mouse, I believe it's Angela's little sister. I don't remember now. But she's getting bullied at Catholic school, so she brings up a bunch of people to Angela's house for a party, and of course all the same chaos ensues. And then it has better effects, has a little bit better story. I think it's just overall more entertaining. And then the third one has a bunch of hoodlums and whatever the different people driving around. They see a cheerleader. They end up going to a convenience store doing a bunch of stuff. And they end up back in. Yeah, I don't remember if they go to Whole House. Yeah, they go back to Whole House, but they.
How would you go to Whole House if you know people die there?
They discover the truth of Whole House, but Angela's back, and so Angela's always back to kill everybody. Anyway, see, look, we did this again. I gotta go fix it. So anyway, all three Night of the Demons are available now.
All right, I put links there to web if you want to go check out Angela's party. All right, tell me about what's going on.
What's coming up?
Yeah.
Again, it's not a huge week. We do have a 4K of Megan unrated edition coming out. Pumpkinhead is getting the 4K release. I love Pumpkinhead. Friday the 13th is a limited edition 4K, the original. I believe it's the original. Yellow Jacket Season 2 is coming out on Blu-ray. Rosemary's Baby's getting a 4K as well as Videodrome.
The original?
Yeah, I believe so.
Nice.
The movie The Boogeyman is coming out to Blu-ray and DVD, which we'll be discussing next week. Transformers Rise of the Beasts getting released 4K Blu-ray finally. That's pretty much it.
Okay. So let's see. We're in October already, friends. How did that happen?
All right.
So here we go. This week. Why is my mouse not mousing?
Come on, sister.
My mouse isn't mousing. Okay. I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff. Okay, today on Sunday, coming out on Max, a new documentary called Last Stop Larimar. It is set in the remotes of the outback in Australia, where I know where this guy and his dog vanished in 2017. And so now people have been investigating, and investigation brings out new information that leads to somebody being declared dead. But then it's really, how did this all happen? So it's actually a series told in 5 chapters. If you want to check that out on Max.
Maybe they need to call.
Who?
Phantom.
Investigators. On Monday, coming to Hulu, it's a Bill. It's a man who mysteriously wakes up in a mill.
Is that the Little Red Howie movie?
It's Little Red Howie. and he has to work um, basically like slave labor, but he's trying to figure out a way out of here.
You gotta work, girl.
Because he's trying to get back to his daughter. So that would be creepy. Somebody kidnaps you. It's on Hulu. They put you in the middle of a worker meal and they're like, get to work. You're now my new slave labor. Oh my God, that'd be crazy. Anyway, so that's interesting. I do too. Coming out on Tuesday, Video Demand and Digital, a movie called Mercy Road. It's this guy who's trying to get out and save his child. But he's also accused of a vicious crime. So people are after him at the same time. Coming out on Video Demand and Digital, this is an interesting one to me. It's about a man who's a lieutenant in the Austrian, I want to make sure I didn't say the wrong country, Austrian military, but he's living a secret life because he's actually a gay man and he has a husband, but he has to live a secret life because of his military career. So it's interesting. Babe. Also coming out on Video Demand and Digital, it's a movie called Down Low. There's Zachary Quinto and somebody else. Yes, it's about I don't know. Gary hires Cameron, a sex worker, to give him an erotic massage, and then crazy things start happening. The dark web, intruders in the night. I don't even know what's happening, but it's billed as a comedy. Coming out on Video Demand and Digital. This looks interesting. A movie called Purtist. Can you even say it? Says Tom Sizemore. He's called out to an old hospital to witness the deathbed confession of a Civil War veteran. But what he tells him, police detective Tom Sizemore.
I'm sure I'm not saying he's not.
Okay. Well, before he died.
Hopefully.
Anyways, he's listening to this deathbed confession, but what the guy is telling him makes him really rethink, does he believe in the supernatural or not? It's going to be interesting. This looks fun too. A new video on Video Demand Digital, new documentary called "I Get Knocked Down, But I Get Up Again." Yes, and so it's a basic documentary about Chumbawamba. So that might be interesting.
Are you sure?
Yes, the story of Chumbawamba. I know who sings the song. Okay, coming out on Wednesday on Prime Video, a movie called Awareness. It's a guy who lives on the outskirts of town, but he has the power to create illusions. To create visual illusions in people's minds. So he can make them do what he wants to. But now rival gangs are after him because they want their power for themselves. Yep. Okay, coming out on Thursday to Hulu. This looks fun, called Monster Inside. It says, this Halloween, take a deep dive into America's most extreme horror destination.
Oh, it's the haunted house documentary.
Yeah, so that looks really fun. Also coming out to Netflix, we're so excited about this, a new series, The Fall of the House of Astro. That looks so fun because we are big Edgar Allan Poe fans, so I like that they're doing this more modern adaptation. Mark Hamill's in there, your girlfriend, Crawly Gugino. There's going to be a lot of good people in the show. So there you go. All right. Friday.
That's what we got.
October 13th. If you're into Taylor Swift, you can go watch now the Eras Tour that they were filming the documentary concert of while she was doing it. So you can go watch that if you didn't get to see it. The movie The Burial, which is based on a true story of a Mississippi funeral home owner who finds out that the big funeral conglomerate or whatever has been ripping him off. So that's interesting.
Jamie Foxx and Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to that.
Coming out to Netflix, a movie called Fair Play. It says it's a thriller set in the finance world. Coming to Disney Plus, new Goosebumps series.
I'm excited for that.
I know you're into Goosebumps. It's so cute.
Not the books. I just like the movies.
The movies. And coming to Peacock, it's a new series, John Carpenter's Suburban Screams. So it's an anthology series, similar to kind of what we were talking about ago.
Is this a remake?
This one?
Yeah.
It's a horror. It's an adaptation set in 1963. It's called Dark Harvest. October Boy rises every Halloween with his butcher knife in hand, ready to take people out.
I know who Dark Harvest is. I wonder if it's a remake of Dark Harvest.
Let me know. We're finding out. Please hold. So, anyways, people are going to go try to kill October Boy, which I don't think you can. You can't kill a mysterious thing that comes to get you every Halloween. I don't know, but him and his friends are going to try to see if they can catch October Boy. Is it a new ad?
Maybe
It says
no, I
it
think it's a
at
different
7.
movie.
Okay, I don't know. Also coming out on video
This movie was due to come back in 2021.
video
Because of
demand
COVID.
and digital. The Bellkeeper. It's a group of friends travel to a supposed horror campsite with the mysterious bell. According to the legend, if you ring the bell at midnight, a murderer will appear. Why would you do that? Because they say something goes awry, as it always does. Coming out to video demand and digital, supernatural thriller called Dear David. The social media content creator is haunted by the ghost of a boy who is possessed by a demonic entity. Nobody wants that in their life. Also,
This
dangerous.
is one I know.
Oh, it's a little bit different. Dangerous waters. They go on a sailboat, lose control, and crazy things happen. Coming to Netflix, The Conference. It's also a comedy thriller, which I like. It's team building that goes wrong, and a mysterious mass killer begins killing all the people at the conference. That might actually be a fun movie since I used to organize conferences for a living. A mysterious killer shows up at a conference and starts killing all the people.
Okay, this Dark Horse is different because this new one is based on the novel of the same name. It says it's an unnamed Midwestern hamlet where each year women take part in a puppet giant pumpkin-headed creature that arises from the corn known as Sloppy Jack and the October Boy.
Yeah.
For the original one, is a group of teenagers go to an inherited family farm and be attacked by a killer scarecrow. I think they did multiple Dark Harvests with the original series.
Okay. This one looks interesting. I think it's Amber Heard is what it looks like.
There's a lot of movies in Dark Harvest.
I know. This one's coming out to video demand and digital this week. It's called In the Fire. It's based in the 1980s. 1890s. So remember when 1800s, when people believed in the whole demonic witchcraft, good and evil kind of thing. There's a little boy who has some disturbing abilities. There's a lady that begins to care for him, but now she has to protect him from the religious people who are trying to get him and exorcise him because they say he's possessed by a demon, but then and that he's the cause of all the problems there in the city, and also science that maybe wants to study it. So there's a whole crazy thing happening. It's interesting. Also, The Winter House. There's so many movies this week. Novelist trying to escape her troubles goes to a remote house, meets a young drifter. We know that's not going to go well. And let's see if there's anything else. Apple TV, Lessons in Chemistry, the series with Brie Larson. I'm excited about that.
What is it?
That new Lessons in Chemistry thing. Oh my. And then that there's the Brie Larson haters. They're going to hate it no matter what. Damsel. She agrees to marry his prince, but then gets thrown into a cave with a fire-breathing dragon and has to figure out how to survive. Don't marry a prince, I guess is the thing. Your prince is not coming. That's it. Whew, so many movies, and I don't know that there's anything really big because it was supposed to be the new Exorcist and it got moved up. So,
what do you got for your horror film?
Ooh, October Horror Fest. I think the series that everyone really likes.
A lot of money.
I know. So I went with Final Destination. But wait, there's more. There's several Final Destinations. I feel like Final Destination was one of those that really kind of turned things on the head because you don't have necessarily a slasher coming to get you. It's death itself that has claimed you. And when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. And you really can't escape it, no matter what.
I think Final Destination also was single-handedly got rid of the popular craze of doing LASIK.
Yes.
People still do it, but you remember, you used to not go anywhere without hearing about LASIK. And then as soon as they showed the episode where the LASIK cuts the first night, you don't hear about it anymore.
Well, remember when we went to the doctor one time, the doctor's like, you know what, you had better put some LASIK. I'm like, well, sir, did you see that movie?
I said, the doctor laughed at her.
And where her eyeballs hanging out, and he's like, yeah, you watch too many movies. But also, this whole created that thing where you don't drive behind big trucks with stuff. Because I'm like, not today, Final Destination.
You don't. Everybody else.
I do it all the time. Like I'll post a Final Destination of. There was one where it was like you drive behind this guy that has all the stuff, barbed wire or logs. Like I can't even go anywhere because all these trucks are on the road.
Well,
Sorry.
it's been announced there was 5 movies in the franchise.
Yes.
It was announced a while back. I wasn't sure if it was ever going to happen,
I know.
but they have said that the 6th film is supposed to start filming in July of 2023. But then it had to wait, so it's now supposed to go to production once the SAG strike ends. And ironically, it's called Final Destination 6: Bloodlines.
Oh, nice.
Like
So,
Pet Sematary.
yeah,
So,
I'm on number 2 at the moment. I started watching these again. So I'm gonna just take all these smiles.
I don't think you're going to do that at all. I think you're going to keep them in your pocket because you notoriously don't push your bag.
Okay, I'll just take number 2.
I went with a franchise that started off as a kind of a horror film and it turned into something else. But it's 3 of them, and this is one of my favorite movies. I went with House of a Thousand Corpses. That is a movie that Rob Zombie directed. It was kind of his debut feature. It is creepy. It is a little disturbing at times. With the late Sid Haig, who plays Captain Spaulding, who I love. But the thing is the movie is kind of weird and all over the place. It's very eclectic. You either like this movie or you don't like this movie. I remember when the trailer first came out, I was like, I have no idea what this movie's about. And seeing it, I came out loving it, but then I heard everybody like, I hate this movie. But I love this movie. But it did spawn a trilogy, all directed by Rob Zombie. But they turned into more of like crime spree revenge flicks. They're not as the first one's not a scary film, but it's more of a twisted monster, gross, bizarre Texas Chainsaw Massacre-esque kind of film. Where then they made The Devil's Rejects, which was following the Firefly family of Bill Moseley, Sid Haig, and Sherry Mood Zombie. I always forget their name. I know Captain Spaulding. I'll put this down until I tell you.
Okay.
Otis, Baby, and Captain Spaulding.
Yes.
And so in this one, it basically picks up at the end of this movie where they're on the run from cops basically raiding them here at the end of the
one
thing.
in that hotel?
This one has a lot of the hotel. There's a hotel in both of them.
Okay.
But yeah, this is the one where they kidnap the other couple, and it's very violent. It's very bloody. It's dirty. I love the Devil's Rejects. The Devil's Rejects is it's just a good movie, and technically you can watch this movie without watching this movie, but you're stupid if you do. And then years we didn't get another one, but
I need
finally
a
he put out.
disclaimer, like, sorry.
Years later, they put out 3 from Hell. Sadly, Sid Haig is in this one briefly, but he did die, I believe, when this movie came out. But again, it kind of follows them. They pretty much seeming to die in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes,
and
then
they died of
that car scene,
fire bullets in this
that
movie. And they brought him back and brought in some new characters. It's another great twist on the flick with some more vengeance and violence. So I love this movie.
Yeah, because I watched that and I'm like, what do you mean there's a part 3?
Look, even 2 thumbs up for The Devil's Rejects, Ebert and Roper.
Wow.
So this one is a much better movie than the other 2, but I love them all. So the House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, 3 from Hell trilogy, it is a good one.
There you go. Thank you.
All right, back to me.
Back to you, buddy.
Oh, I closed out part of my thing. Hold on, I don't know what's up. Sorry, kids. All right. Let me open it back up here. I was not prepared for some stupid reason. All right, so we got some giveaways. We still got copies of Gangnam Zombie. We got digital copies of Strays, which we'll be talking about the actual movie next week.
Yes, so excited.
We still got a couple of copies left of Food by Monster, as well as Creepy Crawly that we talked about today. So I know we didn't give it the greatest review. But if you want to get a chance to check it out,
if you like Creepy Crawlies,
enter the contest. You can get it for free, and it don't cost you nothing.
There you go.
And then lastly, we still got copies of the 4K of Halloween H2O 20 years later, as well as the latest Exorcist, the original Exorcist. We've had time to rewatch it before seeing the new one.
There you go.
That's it. That's what's happening, folks.
Well, thank you so much, friends, for watching this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. We will see you next week for more movie fun.
Bye, kids.
Peace be with you.